Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Your captain speaking on flight deck. My name is Captain Surinder Singh. Welcome aboard the plane talking. Sit back, relax, and enjoy your journey. So today topic is holding pattern. Okay, why we need to hold? अच्छा, okay, holding, very good. हाँ जी, आपने हाथ खड़ा किया था.
ATC makes pilots to holding patterns to space out traffic and coordinate them.
Okay, when you expect holding, maybe the aircraft is. Yeah, what he said is right. Basically, when you are expecting some delay in your approach or landing, and precisely what he says, the lot of aircraft already waiting in the approach to land. That is the only place where you expect holding. We don't expect holding. Let's say you are going from Delhi to London, we will make two hold over Dubai. What is the easiest way to hold? Yeah, you're right. You make 360 degree. That is the easiest way to hold. And practically also when you fly, many times when they want to, somebody said they want to put you in the sequence, radar controller or ATC does tell you, okay, make 360 present position. So if that is the easiest way, then why to make patterns? Constant bank तो क्या चक्कर आ जाएंगे तुमको? हाँ? No, it won't make it. The turn which you do is just about 25 degree bank, we will see. Okay, good. So most of you what you have answered is actually correct. And you also have discussed that the easiest way is make 360. But what will happen if every aircraft is making 360? Comes here, some aircraft will have larger radius, some comes here, smaller radius. So it is not, somebody used the word organized. That is the correct thing because it is not a procedure. It is generally aircraft are there. Holding patterns give you a standard procedure that every aircraft will follow that procedure. But the more importantly than this is it gives time reference. We will see below 14,000 feet standard hold is 4 minutes, above it is 6 minutes. So let's say if my delay expected is 15 minutes, so I know approximately you will be doing 4 holds. If your wait is 20 minutes, the hold required are 5. So you have a time reference. That this hold is published on the chart, and on that hold there will always be something called MHA, minimum holding altitude. It keeps you clear of the traffic below. That is one. It also ensures the obstruction clearance. If there is a hilly terrain or when you are taking off, approaching, there is a lot of noise when you are coming close to ground. So particularly in the Western world, they are very particular about noise produced by aircraft. So that also ensures that you avoid wherever the populated areas is there, it keeps you clear even when you are holding. And in most of the time, not always, when you leave the hold, the holding patterns are designed in such a manner that when you leave the hold, they are actually feeding you to the next approach phase. From wherever you can easily, when you leave the hold, the procedure which you need to follow, it is simple. So this holding pattern ensures that when you leave the hold, the maneuver involved is that it is easy to enter into the next phase of the approach. Mainly the two important things is one is time reference and standard procedure. Please copy this. Now coming to the pattern, obviously it is a pattern which every aircraft follows. Any guess? You mean to say something like this? The edges. This is called racetrack or race course pattern. And before we actually see what this pattern is, so there are certain terms which are used with the holding patterns. One is called holding radial. Many times you get instruction, hold on radial 090, 60 dm. Means the holding pattern would be with respect to a point which is 60 nautical mile east. So this radial is holding radial, that is a term. So in the hold, when you come inbound, this is a term. inbound in a hold. So inbound in hold, your holding radial is 090. What is your inbound leg when you're going towards the holding point? 270. So you have inbound leg. Leg is the physical track which you are flying. Then you have, if this is inbound, this will be outbound. So if inbound is 270, outbound will be, so inbound, outbound and holding radial. Race track. This is normally referred as outbound turn and this is inbound turn. Aircraft is to physically fly on this leg. This is important because let's add a little more in this. So this is a straight leg, these two are turning leg. During turns, inbound and outbound, we follow something called rate 1 turn. Rate 1 turn is 3 degree per second. Rate 2 is 6 degree per second. 3 is 9 degree per second and 4 is 12 degree per second. All instrument procedures are basically published with rate 1 turn, which is also referred as standard rate turn. Now, particularly for the holding, the important question also for your exam, understand the bank angle required during inbound and outbound is, so turn during inbound and outbound are carried out rate 1 turn, which is 3 degree per second, or bank 25 degree, whichever is lesser. If you are flying with the same indicated speed, as you will go higher, you are flying actually at higher speed, so your true airspeed increases. So as your true airspeed increases, your radius of turn will also increase. So you can't put on more bank. Let's say you are not getting rate 1 turn, perfectly fine, the bank angle is restricted to 25 degree. This problem occurs basically at higher altitude. Now there is a maximum speeds which is given by ICAO, which you can maintain during hold. You cannot exceed those speeds. These speeds are important for your all the exams, whether you can. So as per ICAO, there are maximum speed which you can maintain during hold. If you are below flight level 140, 230 knots IAS, this below flight level 200, then the maximum speed is 240 knots of IAS. Below flight level 340 is 265 knots. If you are below, at or above flight level 340, the maximum speed which you can maintain is 0.83 Mach. So 140, 230, up to below 200 is 240, below flight level 340 is 265, and above, at or above flight level 340 is 0.83 Mach. KIAS means indicated speed, 230 knots indicated speed. So be very careful, it is below. And again, there are two types of hold: standard hold, and now these two types of hold, when we say we have a non-standard hold. Now when you say standard hold, means number one, all turns are to the right, and number two, holding leg or the inbound leg which you saw, that is also called holding leg, is of 1 minute. That is a criteria for a hold to call standard hold. So your outbound is also turning right and inbound is also turning right. Any of the above criteria, if it is not met, either this or this, it becomes non-standard hold. And the inbound leg or the holding leg is of 1 minute. Non-standard hold is either your turn is not to the right, it is to the left, or the inbound leg is other than 1 minute. It could be 1 minute, 30 seconds, it could be 2 minutes. So then it becomes non-standard hold. So race course track. Now time reference in the hold. Inbound leg, you come over the station, turn outbound, 180 degree, you go out. Now how much is the time reference? This leg physically you have to fly off 1 minute. Now your turn 180 degree, rate 1 means 180 divided by 3 is 60 seconds. Then you press clock 1 minute, you go, if you are doing manual hold, after 1 minute you turn inbound, how much? 180 degree. So 180 divided by 3 is again 60 seconds. 1, 1, 1, 1. So total is 4 minutes. So that's what standard hold it takes. So time during hold is, now you are turning through how many degree? Below flight level 140, it is 4 minutes. At or above, it is 6 minutes, because this leg becomes 1.5 minute. 1 minute 30 seconds, 1 minute 30 seconds. So how much? 1 minute 30, 1 minute 30? 3 minutes. As you're at higher level, your rate of turn, because maximum bank angle is how much? 25 degree. You cannot exceed at those level. You may not get that rate 1 turn. So that's one we have seen. What is the pattern? Race track, standard and non-standard, maximum speed during the hold, and the time. Okay, now let's see what is the entry procedure. The entry to the hold, which kind of entry you will do depends upon what heading you are approaching onto the holding fix. Let's say this is my holding fix and the published hold is published. The holding radial is 090 in this case. The standard hold. So how we do the entry? It will be, so how we do the entry? Let's say I'm coming from here and that there is a published hold. Your holding radial is 090. So now you have to follow this hold. I come here. Then what? So how you enter into this pattern? You have 360 direction around the fix from which you can approach. Because aircraft is moving forward also. You are not just come here, let's follow the hold. Also, I give you the best tip for your lifetime, which is not given in any of the book, in aviation book. Now what is the tip is, they will give you the thumb rule or pencil rule or this rule or that rule. I'll give you a very simple thing, that over the radio fix or your holding fix, you have to turn through minimum number of degrees. So there we'll see various type of entry and people get confused which type of entry. Very simple. Wherever the turn involved is less, you have to follow that. If one requires 80 degree turn and one requires 75 degree turn, you have to follow 75 degree, or in simple words, if I say minimum circus over the holding fix. So the best way in your life, whenever you are confused, wherever the turn involved is less, that is the entry blindly, without even thinking. You will see when you draw it, it looks more complicated, but practically you will do it, it is really a fun. Now, for the purpose of entry, the 360 degree direction, they are divided into 3 entry sectors. These sectors are, if you are coming either side of your inbound, let's say here this is your inbound leg. Inbound leg is off, that physically you are supposed to fly. You cannot come like this, you cannot come like this. So whatever the drift correction are required, we'll see that later. But you have to physically fly on this line. Here you can be somewhere in this pattern, but you have to be on your holding leg. 270. These 360 degree directions are divided into 3 sectors. So whatever is your outbound, what is your outbound? 090, subtract 70 out of it. So 090 minus 70, 020. So this is your 70 degree less, and this radial will be how much? Radial 020. Now if you extend it further, this radial is 200. So is direct entry. So either side of your inbound, direct entry means, so wherever you are coming from, you directly turn outbound. You directly turn outbound. When to time out? Now the time out is when you are on outbound, means you are established on outbound 270, or you are abeam the station. That's the time you time out for 1 minute. What is the meaning of this? Let's say you are coming from here. You start turning, you move forward like this. That's how you will continue. And now if you will time out for 1 minute from here, does it make a sense? So where you will start timing out? When you come abeam station, and that's the time you time out for 1 minute. From here to here, anything, it could be direct entry. Yes, let's say you're coming like this. You will turn, whatever the radius, now you come here on 270. But is it right to time out here? So whichever is later means, when you come here, abeam beacon, that's the time you are time out. Now let's take another example. You're coming like this. From here you can turn outbound. Will you come ever abeam the station? Let's see, even if I draw hypothetical radius, you're coming like this. Will you ever come abeam the station? So when you will time out? When you are rolling out on your outbound. So either side of your inbound, it is a direct entry. Now you are left with this 180 degree, because this is 180 degree total. This total sector is of 180 degree, and this is, when you come, this is your direct entry sector. Now remaining 180, again it is divided into two sectors. If you extend this, whatever is your inbound, this radial becomes 270. So from 270 to 020, this is how much? 110 degree. This is called, easy way to remember is parallel. So parallel entry is how many degree? 110 degree. Good way to remember. Parallel entry sector is 110 degree. Now what is the parallel entry means? If you are coming anywhere from this sector 020 to 270 radial, you're coming like this, you have to follow this pattern. So what you do is you go parallel to your inbound. Parallel to inbound, your inbound is 270, so parallel you will go how much? 090 for 1 minute. That's what you go parallel, and thereafter you turn inbound. So there are two ways to do it. Either you can come over the fix and the follow, or there is, if you can continue turning, this is little difficult maneuver, but you can come on the inbound. So practically the easiest way to do is you go parallel 090, after 1 minute you turn and come over, and then you join the hold. Or you can continue turning, that depends upon your flying skill, but both are correct. So parallel 110 degree, because you're going parallel to your inbound. The remaining is this. This is 70 degree. This is called teardrop or offset entry. How much is remaining now? The teardrop or offset means, let's say if you are coming from this sector, you will come over the radio fix, then you will go offset. Offset means offset. Okay, means whatever is your inbound, you will get offset 30 degree from that. So if your outbound is 090, you will go 30 degree less is how much? 090. So 30 degree offset means you go on 060. This is 30 degree offset for 1 minute, and then you will turn inbound to intercept the hold. Again I repeat, from this sector, that is 70 degree offset or teardrop, you know teardrop. So or offset, you are going offset to your inbound, by 30 degree for 1 minute, and thereafter you join the hole. Practically, if you are plus minus 10 of your boundary of the sector, you can choose any type of entry. Let's say you are exactly on this line, or plus minus 10 degree, both are permitted. So broadly, if you see, we have divided this 360 degree, and remember this entry is here based on which heading you are coming on. So this is 180 degree, parallel entry is 110 degree, and teardrop is, so you have 3 sectors, 1, 2, and 3. It looks complicated, practically is very easy. Means, let's say if you're coming from here, what you can get confused. It cannot be direct. So what is the confusion? Either it could be offset or it could be parallel. So where you have the turn involved is less. Parallel, because if you have to go through this, the turn involved is more. Similarly, if you're coming like this, where one can get confused, to choose parallel or offset, where the turn involved is less, offset, because here you have to turn more. That is the easiest way whenever, because direct is very simple. Whatever is your inbound, either side is direct entry. This is for your standard hold, which works wonderfully. So practically, when you're doing it 10 degree either side, it is permitted whichever entry you want to take. It looks difficult, it is very easier. If you remember one thing, that minimum turn or minimum circus over the radio fix. Actually, this is the fun time now. One thing to remember, either side of your inbound, it is direct entry. So here starts the fun part of this holding learning. You are coming, this is your inbound, outbound and inbound. This is the published hold. Either side is direct entry. When you're coming from here, if you're coming from this side, what type of entry? Parallel entry. Correct? Because that's how you will go 1 minute, and then if you're coming from here, offset entry, because for this the turn involved is more. You want to know whatever is this outbound 70 degree, and you have those 3 sectors available. It is practically much more easier than what it looks on the profile when you look at it. Let's see one more example. Inbound, right turn, standard, outbound and inbound. Either side is direct, whether you are coming from here, if you are coming from here. Any guess? Teardrop. For teardrop you have to turn this much. Which one is better? Correct. If you are coming from here, you have 2 options. Parallel, where the turn involved is less. Parallel. And then you join the hole. So that is your standard hold. Now let's see non-standard hold. Non-standard, rest everything remains same. The logic also remains same. So non-standard hold, this is your holding radial 090. This is your holding leg or homing leg. You come over the station, you turn left, go outbound for 1 minute, and then turn inbound. So this is left hand. So this is your non-standard hold. So like I said, the logic still remains same. If you're coming from here, it is offset. If you're coming from here, it is parallel. Either side is direct. Now again 70 degree, earlier you did like this through the pattern. Now you have to, instead of subtracting, what you have to do? You have to add that 70 degree. So 90 plus 70 is 160 degree. So this radial is 160 degree. If this is 160 degree, this will be 340. So this is your direct entry. 180 degree. This is 70 degree. You extend it further, you have 3 sectors. 7. Okay, chalo. We'll see you after the break. Please copy. This is your captain speaking.